Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name's Mojaxx and today we're going back into the world of lighting. We're taking a look at the newest innovation from Chauvet DJ. This is a slightly unusual episode as I'm not actually reviewing a product as such. No, instead what I'm doing today is checking out a new way of synchronizing different DJ light fixtures together with Chauvet DJ's integrated lighting system, ILS. To begin with, let's talk about how fixtures have traditionally been linked up to now. To begin with, there is master-slave or master-follower configuration. This is where the master is connected to another fixture, the follower, and the follower will do the same thing as the master. The big limitation here is that this only works with the same type of fixture at each end. You can connect two or more of the same light in this way, but not different ones. So if you have multiple fixture types, each type can sync with each other, but your overall show never can. You also can't make them do complementary things. Typically the follower will only copy the leader exactly. Then we have DMX and ArtNet, but that's less commonly used by DJs. With a DMX system, all the fixtures within that system are told what to do by a central controller. This means you can tell all kinds of different fixtures to do similar or complementary things, so you can create a truly synchronized show with any number of different lights. There are some issues with DMX though. It's very time consuming and fiddly to set up and program. Plus there's a steep learning curve with the tech. Also, you'll need some kind of control system involved, either hardware or software on a computer or tablet. All of that means that DMX isn't for everyone, even when you're using tools to make DMX easier like SoundSwitch. So what is ILS bringing to the table that's new? Well, it's a way of integrating different types of fixtures together, bringing a synchronized look to your entire show without the need for any complex programming. You can think of it as having the simplicity of a master-follower setup, but with the look of a DMX system. It can be connected in two ways, either via standard DMX cables for wired use, or with Chauvet DJ's DFi USB system. Each of the ILS-compatible fixtures has the appropriate port for the DFi USB dongles, and those work out around $60 each in the US. The performance of DFi seemed very reliable in my brief testing period, and it's a lot easier than hooking up a ton of cables. You need to make sure the transmitter and receivers are on the same channel, but beyond that, setup is completely hassle-free. The brain of the whole system is the new Gigbar Move ILS. I've only had a week with all of this kit, so this is by no means a review of it, but it's definitely a big upgrade compared to other Gigbar models. There are much brighter 32-watt moving heads for a start, brighter pars which are also now hex color, and the derbies are brighter and are quad instead of tricolour. Even the laser has been upgraded with blue as well as red and green. It also features a new RF remote which has a big range and doesn't require line of sight to use. The upgrades do come at a cost. MAP price is around $1,700 in the US compared to $1,200 for the Gigbar Move, although street prices are much cheaper for both. But I do think it's worth it, even before you take ILS into account. Within that system, the Gigbar basically runs the whole show, so you operate the Gigbar Move ILS as normal, choosing auto or sound to light programs with the remote or the supplied foot switch. That then does its thing. But then you can connect up extra ILS fixtures, either wired or using the DFi USBs, and they will follow the same program, precisely complementing what the Gigbar is doing. The Gigbar Move ILS has all the DFi tech built in, so you don't need an extra transmitter for that. When it comes to extra fixtures which will work with the system, those are easily identified in the Chauvet DJ lineup thanks to the ILS suffix on their name. There are many available already with even more on the way, and most of them will be familiar to many as they are simply new ILS versions of existing fixtures. So as the first example, the Intimidator Spot 160 moving head, which they sent me one of, will perform the same movements, plus colour and gobo changes as the moving heads on the Gigbar. One thing I will note here quickly, you can choose which ILS mode each fixture runs in. For most programs on the Gigbar this won't make any difference, but some of the available programs do split the Gigbar into two halves, and so you can tell the system which side the additional fixture is on, 1 and 3 for stage left and 2 and 4 for stage right. That way everything all remains fully matched. Where it gets really clever is that where the Gigbar remote offers more granular control, the ILS system will relate to that too. So if you turn off the Gigbar moving heads with the remote, connected up Intimidator Spot 160s will also turn off. The whole system is truly integrated, hence the name. The same thing applies to fixtures like the Swarm 5 Effects ILS, which I also tried. That includes a derby effect, strobes and a laser, all of which respond to the corresponding settings on the Gigbar. Likewise with the Slimpar Q6 ILS, the ILS system knows that that's a par light and therefore it behaves exactly like the pars on the Gigbar. So what are the positives and negatives of the ILS system? On the positive side, there really is no simpler way to get a perfectly synchronized light show across multiple fixture types. Initial setup will take no more than a couple of minutes per fixture, and then every time you use it subsequently, you just switch it on and go. For DJs with limited build-out time, those who aren't interested in DMX, or who are sending out rigs with less experienced DJs, this truly is a dream setup. You really can't go wrong with it. Plus, you are not tied to using ILS forever or all the time. All of the ILS fixtures, including the Gigbar Move ILS, remain fully DMX compatible. So if you decide that you want to use DMX after a certain period of time, or just on some occasions, you still have that option available to you. As for negatives, there are really only two that I can see. Firstly, whilst the ILS versions of a lot of the compatible fixtures might look similar to early versions, those older ones aren't going to work with ILS. So if you've already started building out a show using pre-ILS Chauvet DJ fixtures, those won't be any use to you in an ILS system. There is nothing that Chauvet DJ could have done about that, but it's worth being aware of. And secondly, there's no doubt that the Gigbar line is a pretty divisive subject amongst mobile DJs. Some DJs adore the simplicity and effectiveness of them, whilst others, often wedding DJs, aren't fans of the more projection-like elements of them, citing the needs of photographers and stuff like that. Personally, I do think the line, and the Move ILS in particular, are very good investments, especially for those who don't have a huge vehicle or who need something which can do a lot with a small footprint. And not every mobile DJ is a wedding DJ. You might specialise in kids' parties, pubs, karaoke, any number of different things where effects like derbies will go down a treat. But with that said, here's what I'd like to see Chauvet DJ bring to the ILS range: a standalone control box. Basically the brains of the Gigbar Move ILS, which could sit next to your DEX or controller and would work with the same kind of remote. Then DJs would have the option of using the ILS system with all of its benefits without having to base their whole show around a Gigbar, because frankly the system is so easy to use and so effective that just tying it to one certain kind of setup seems like a bit of a wasted opportunity. I want to see ILS for everyone. So there you go, look at the integrated lighting system from Chauvet DJ. I'm a big fan of this. You know, regular viewers will know that I've got kind of into DMX over the past couple of years. It was all thanks to SoundSwitch, like opening the door for me, but now I really enjoy kind of building and tweaking rigs and setting up programs and shows, etc. I find it kind of therapeutic, if I'm honest. But I do appreciate that not every DJ has the time or the desire to get into DMX, because it's a lot of hassle. It is very time consuming. It's just one of those things that's not for everyone. So ILS gives you a great solution for creating fully synchronized light shows without any hassle. You turn up, you plug stuff in, it all talks to each other, and off it goes. And that's what it promised to do. And in practice, having had it here and messed with it, that's what it does. It does what it says on the tin, and that's really fantastic. The main thing for me here is that you aren't tied just to using ILS. It's not an either-or situation. All of these fixtures that have now got that ILS suffix on them, they have all the DMX capabilities that they had before. So you can choose. You can start with just ILS and kind of move on to DMX later if you want, or you can use ILS for some gigs, and then maybe bigger events, or you want some really customized kind of shows, you can use DMX for those. You can choose, because the hardware supports both, and that it's critical that they did that, and they did. You know, they haven't kind of nerfed these lights in any way. They've got all the power and capability they had before, plus ILS on top. So overall, yeah, it's a really clever system. I'm very happy to see it, and I think it's really going to level up the light shows for a lot of DJs out there who just don't want any extra kind of hassle in their lives when it comes to lighting. They just want stuff that works. In the comments this week, I'd love to hear from you guys and girls who are mobile DJs out there in the trenches. Tell us about your light rigs. Are you based around something like a Gigbar? Are you using auto shows or just sound to light? Are you super into DMX? Have you nerded out about it like I have? And does the ILS system appeal to you? Is that something as maybe a beginner mobile DJ or an experienced one where you can just see how this would add to your own systems? Do let us know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you next time.